Okay. Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the Public Safety Committee meeting for April 3rd. I'm Steve Havey, your chairperson. First of all, we'd like to have a roll call, please.
Mr. Havey.
Here.
Mr. Sear.
Present.
Mr. Barnes.
Present.
Mr. Demick.
Here.
Mr. Healy.
Here.
Mr. Rumfelt. Mr. Stockin.
Here.
And Mr. Harris. 6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. I'd like to call for the approval of minutes for March 6th, please.
Chemical move.
Thank you. And a second.
Helio second.
Thank you. Any corrections or adjustments or comments? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We also need the approval of minutes for March 13th.
Stocking.
Thank you. And a second.
Healy.
Thank you. Any corrections to these minutes? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those are carried. I have to make an apology to you. We're going to have a slight change in agenda. Mr. Peter Degnan, our conflict defender, has to go to court, so he asked if he could go first. Mr. Degnan, sir, you're up.
I apologize for disrupting the order, but we did get the worst out of the way first.
There you go.
We did submit our report. The numbers are pretty consistent with what they have.
Ask him to turn the mic on.
Oh, could you turn your mic on, please? I'm sorry.
There we go.
There you go.
The numbers are pretty consistent with what they have been. We do have some great news. We did get the extension for the building, and so the funding is all approved, so that has to be spent by 1 year from today, and they were pretty explicit about that. So that is good news. Everything else seems to be going pretty well. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Anyone? Pretty easy to understand, I guess. Oh,
Mr. Havey,
Jan.
does the money have to be actually spent or committed?
Spent.
Spent.
And that was my understanding. I got an email the other day, and it was a reminder that it had to be spent. So I think that it would be a good idea to spend it. And just given what they have, we just don't need any aggravation.
Yeah,
So-
let's not drag it on. Let's spend it.
And just
Yes.
to remind everybody that those are all non-county dollars, is that correct?
That's yes. So it's an extension of the unused monies that we had for the grant, and then we did a grant modification for that purpose, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? I guess we're good. Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you very much, I
Go to
appreciate it.
court. Okay. How about Mr. Ian Jones, our district attorney, sir?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. We have the report submitted. The numbers are all in range, so to speak. I don't really have anything that I think would add to it, so I'm happy to take any questions if we have them. But other than that, I'll kind of rely on the report, so to speak.
Okay. Questions for the district attorney?
Nothing?
Okay.
Okay.
Anything otherwise that you might like to hit on, personnel or criminal trends or anything like that, or?
No, not at this time. I mean, there are some things that they're coming up that I want to talk about. We're going to have some try to shift around some staffing. I'm going to try to take one of our secretary positions and convert that to a different title, but all things that I need to have some conversations about before we really get moving, so nothing I'm really going to comment on at this point, I guess.
All in the effort of streamlining and operations, I assume, and hopefully saving a little money, right?
Well, I don't know how much money we'll save, but
Well, if you're more efficient,
yeah,
always
that's
just,
right. That's right.
you save money.
We'd like to add because, it's just I think we need to beef up a little bit, and that is going to cost a little money, but we are always conscious of efficiency, and like you said, efficiency saves dollars, so absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So how many assistants do you have now?
5.
5? So you got full staff on the assistant
Well,
district?
there's a few part-times there. There's two ADAs that are full-time, the rest are part-time, so. Yeah, we'd like to add some more full-time if we could. It helps.
In other words, you'd like to convert a couple of the part-timers to full-timers?
Yeah, but it's hard, easy to say, hard to do. And then just, like every other law office in this county, finding people is proving to be very difficult, so.
So would you recommend that Alfred State start a law school?
I don't know about that. I don't know. You'd have to ask Alfred State about that. That's beyond me. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Anyone else?
Okay.
I guess you're free. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks
Have
for
a
the
good-
report. We appreciate it. Okay. Mr. J.R. Carter, a public defender, sir. Good
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to rest on the report submitted, but I just wanted to come say hello. I know I've been tied up in court the last few months, so it's been a while since you seen me last. I'm still alive, I'm still here, and we're still pushing on. Any questions?
Anybody? Seems to be a drop in violent felonies from last year. We like that.
I don't object to that. I did want to say that there has been some recent court decisions coming down with regards to the extreme risk temporary order protections. That's the procedures where law enforcement's being directed to file these petitions to remove people's guns from them in their homes. That decision is to determine that that is a constitutional right to where they have counsel in those proceedings. So if it ends up where I think it will, that'll be another area of law that we're mandated to now take on. So I'll keep an eye on it and I'll report back to you as it develops.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Anything that is changing on the landscape that affects your job and affects us, we appreciate you keeping us up to date on. Anything else?
Just, will that include all the criminals and illegal immigrants that I see that they've extended the Second Amendment to constitutional rights to?
Well, that depends if it's a petitions brought against them. Again, like it's the governor has directed the state police to bring petitions when they see fit. So,
Okay, thanks.
no
Okay.
problem.
Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone. Goodbye. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Okay. Up next on the agenda, since we've moved Mr. Degnan around, would be Jeff Lucky. He is not here. He has provided us with reports. He is currently at the New York State Fire Coordinator Conference and couldn't be here. If you have any questions, you can direct them directly to him. Beyond that, we have Bonnie Van Housen, our Emergency Medical Services Coordinator. Bonnie, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Well, often the Office of Emergency Services and Fire, I'd like to put on there that Mandy is taking the grants course from the National EMI training facility out of Maryland. She's doing it virtually for 4 weeks, but she is going to be getting trained on all of the all of the FEMA and DHSES grants. So seeing how she's taken that over, it's been a really good thing that she's doing this.
That's excellent.
Other than that, I've been busy with the bridge program, trying to get the bridge for the paramedic up and going. I'm working on that. And we have 10 critical care who are going to go on to become paramedics, who are now, they'll be enrolled as soon as the packet goes out today. I have to mail the packet in for them to take the class. So that will go out this afternoon. I'm just putting the finishing touches on it, so I will be at the post office before it closes today to get that in the mail. They will be taking classes. Their class will be once a week. In our facility, we have 4 instructors who will be holding that class, so that it's a virtual, so they'll be online. They'll have their own stuff to do, but we are offering that instructor, which we, like I say, we have 4 of them. We're offering an instructor every week for any questions, any confusion. If there's something that they need extra help on, we will do that. And we will be offering some skills classes to keep up their skills while they're learning the book part of it as well. So that's what we're doing with that. Other than that, we had a very good presenter from New York State Department of Health come down, Jennifer Solomon. She came down and did a mental health 8-hour training for the EMS, which they get continuing medical education training for that. And it was a very good program, and the ones that took it were very, very impressed. So I'm working on getting some more like that down here.
Very good. Any questions for Bonnie? Anything else you can think of you'd like to highlight?
Not that I can think of right offhand.
Okay.
I did go to a STEP conference in March. It was very good. Our doctors from U of R were some of the presenters, and I talked to them, and I'm working with them to have the medical director from up there over education to come down and look at our education program and see how we can enhance our education program. It's very good now, but I'd like to make it better. And then I also talked to them about some of the mental health issues that have been going on in our county, and they're going to try to see if we can get hooked up with a peer program down here to get some help and be able to have people that can, when they get frustrated after a call or whatever, they can call in and talk to someone.
Excellent. Anyone have any questions for Bonnie? Go ahead, Mrs. Burdick.
Bonnie, I see you've been attending stuff on the eclipse. Could you just explain to us where your role will be in that and what you'll be doing? Sorry.
Okay, so the eclipse obviously is going to happen. We've been working as a group across the county. There's a health department, the sheriff's department, the administration. We've all been working together on the plan. We are planning to have an EOC, so I will have a seat at the table as that with the EMS. We do have some EMS agencies, and MTS is all going to be fully staffed and ready to go for any issues that might come up. We have some fire departments that are going to have some staff on hand to be ready to take those calls as needed. But I will probably be in the EOC and be able to reach out and talk to all of the EMS and fire as needed.
Anyone else? Thank you, Bonnie. Okay, next we have Mr. Scott Grantier, our probation director. Good afternoon.
Hello, everybody. March was a pretty stable, steady month as far as the report goes. Numbers remain steady. We see a gradual increase, but nothing too drastic and sharp at this point. Just another shout out to our senior probation officers taking those high risk and specific caseloads with domestic violence, sex offender pretrial, and EHM and DWI cases I just think they're doing a great job in managing those cases. I have a few updates, nothing as far as MOEs or anything, but I'll answer any questions on the report first if you have them.
Questions on anything presented so far? Okay, continue, please.
Okay. We're working with the court on the next steps for our OVW subaward. This was due to expire in 2024. It was a 3-year grant cycle from 21 to 24 with post-COVID and kind of a soft pause within the county as far as probation goes and the transition to our department. We're working with the court for a 1-year extension through 2025, which would not change the cost or the allocations for that grant. And we're pretty optimistic we can get that done with the court. So we wouldn't have to do a resubmit or a reapplication until next year. So I'm optimistic about that and working with the people at the court for that. 2 weeks ago, the department went to Cattaraugus County Probation. Three of us went over to take a look at their financial systems and how they operate through the Caseload Explorer system. This is something that's been talked about in probation for several years. It just has not been done. We're one of the last counties in the state not to have the integration to of our financials into Caseload Explorer. We went to Olean and took a look at the kind of the end is the beginning of what it looks like at the end product, and it's a very, very good operation. I'm very impressed with what it can do. This would not require any additional cost through Satalis Automon for the service. It's built into the program. It's just a matter of us getting our information inputted, a lot of current and historical information, which will be a heavy lift and heavy workload for a time being, but I'm pretty optimistic we can get this done and have this launched by the first of the year, January 1st. That's the goal. I think that's going to help not only our department, but the county long-term with our financial bookkeeping and record keeping. And the last thing I have is effective April 1st, all mandatory surcharges from the state of New York for convictions of DWI will be returned to the Stop DWI programs. Statewide, this is anticipated to be an increase of about 25% for income for local Stop DWI programs. So we're optimistic about that.
Good news.
So, yeah, very good news. That's all I have.
Questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Healy, sir.
How many probation officers do you currently have?
Currently have 12.
Well,
We are full staffed.
thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir, and thank you for what your department does.
Yep, thank
Well
you.
done. Okay, Mr. Gilbert Green, sir, Weights and Measures Director.
Good afternoon. It's either a glad time or a sad time, I'm not sure which, but this is Jordan Gagne. He's going to be taking my place.
Nice to meet everybody.
Aye.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
There you go. Otherwise, you got my report. Any questions?
Anyone? As usual, it's brief and complete, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, have a wonderful day.
All yours, Scott.
Oh, man. Okay,
You saved your Lord.
I guess so.
Welcome, Sheriff.
Good afternoon, everybody. You read my reports? Any questions on that before we dive into a few things? No? Sure, John.
Mr. Ricky.
On your welfare fraud, see somebody from Olean got us for $3,700. Are they living there when they stole the money, or they moved there after they got caught?
Well, that's a good point. They were living there for a portion of the time that the theft took place, yes.
Any chance we ever get any of this money back, or they get kicked out of the system? Or
Well,
how's
that's
that
part
work?
of this. So it's not only the reimbursement of what they were paid that they weren't entitled to. Part of the criminal case is also that we have what's called cost avoidance. So going forward, we don't pay those benefits for a predetermined amount of time. So not only are we going to get that money back at some point, and you know how this is, it might take us quite some time to get it all back. But the avoidance of the cost going forward is exponentially greater than recovery of the initial cost.
Thank you.
Yep. Just to hit on that real quick, as you can see with all the press releases, they're really getting rolling now with criminal cases. I think we got another one today. They're averaging approximately 1 to 2 arrests per week, and we're getting to a point now where we're really starting to see a difference, which is what we expected. In the next couple of months, we're going to compile the cost avoidance statistics along with the money that's going to be owed back to social services, and we'll get a more accurate picture of where we're at on the actual monetary amount. But as you can see, they're doing one heck of a job. They're really doing a very thorough and efficient job in spotting where these overages are and where these outright thefts are taking place, and then they're addressing it.
Yeah, very impressive. They're doing a wonderful job, something that we've needed for a while, so.
I would
I'm glad
agree.
to see that we have
I
it.
think it's going very well.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Question. Are any of these people going to jail?
None of these cases have made it to that point. Whether they go to jail or not, I guess that's probably more of a question for our district attorney, but it's certainly a possibility. There are a lot of felonies included in these arrests.
Okay. Well, thank goodness most criminals aren't rocket scientists. Is that correct?
I would agree with that statement.
Thank you.
Steve?
Oh, question, Mr. Burns.
Yeah, on your fraud investigations, how do you discover that? Is it because of tips from some people that say, hey, I think this guy's cheating, or is it from internal investigation that you find where there's the numbers don't add up?
It's a combination of all of those things. So a lot of times they get phone calls saying you should be taking a look at this person. That does happen quite often. There are a lot of other mechanisms in place. State records that they reconcile to see if there's differences. They review for random purposes. They'll go through different reports and they'll see if they say that they haven't been employed, then they go pull some records from the state and they show that they've been receiving a paycheck from somewhere. It's all putting all of those pieces together for the criminal investigation. DSS does a great job. What they do is they put red flags on cases when they see things that just don't make sense. That's when our investigators get involved and make a determination if it's simply a mistake or if the intent was there to defraud and actually steal money that they weren't entitled to. So it's a process, and it starts through DSS and what they bring in as far as red flags and whatnot, and then it's up to our investigators to take all of that information and make a determination whether they believe a crime was committed or not.
Does the cost of all the investigation come close to what you end up collecting or saving?
I believe I would like to get a 1-year snapshot of this before I can give numbers, but I believe that what we're going to be avoiding in costs, paying out these benefits, and what we'll be recouping in the money that was illegally gotten, I believe will far exceed what our salaries are for the people involved.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Any other questions on that topic? Guess we can move on, sir.
All right. I want to point out something. JR left, I see, but I want to talk a little bit about the TRPOs and ERPOs that he mentioned. For those of you that aren't aware, the TRPO is a temporary emergency restraining order, and it's new under the red flag law. I say new. It's new in the last 1 to 2 years from the state. And whenever you believe that there's a person that could potentially be a danger to themselves or others, you can file a TRPO. It's a process. So law enforcement, if they get a case that they believe a TRPO is warranted, they have to file it with the county clerk's office, and then within 24 hours, our county courts have to assign a hearing. So the officer would have to appear, and generally, with the state police now, who are being assigned an attorney general to represent them, have to present this to the court. The problem that we're finding in this county is we have 2 judges. We have 2 multi-hat judges, and their schedules are very tight. So when we get all of these additional TRPOs and ERPOs that are coming, the majority, 95%, are coming from the New York State Police. They have to juggle their schedule. And the state, this is an unfunded mandate. They're not providing any support services for our county whatsoever. And it's really affecting our ability to be efficient in how our courts operate. So in addition to this, the state police policy is that, without getting into great detail, every single 941 mental health law arrest, which is somebody's a danger to themselves or others, require a TRPO. There's no discretion. So honestly, they probably get 2 or 3 of these a week. So you throw those into criminal cases, there are weeks that we might have 5, 7 of these that disrupt the current process of our courts. And further, the state police used to have to represent themselves in these cases, but now they're bringing an attorney general down from Buffalo to handle the prosecution of these cases. So to put this into perspective, the state police average probably 5 a week of these. So over the course of a year, they're upwards 150, maybe 200 of these per year. With all of our interactions in filing TRPOs where we believe they should be filed, we've done 3 in the last 1.5 years. So I believe this is an overreach on policy. The state police will agree with me because I deal with them every day on this. They believe they should have discretion in how these rules are being applied. The state is, again, telling us we have to do this and not providing us any support. And now what you're hearing from J.R. Carter is that now they may be requiring an attorney to be present at these proceedings. And I can guarantee you that's not going to be funded from our perspective. Maybe the defense will be able to be funded, but I can see we're likely not going to be. So just so you're aware, it's quite a bit more in depth than what J.R. mentioned, but this is coming from the opposite perspective.
Mr. Burns.
Well, and I can just. I'm sorry. My question is, can you describe what a turbo is?
Sure. It's a temporary emergency restraining order, and what that does is the judge makes a determination whether the person is a danger to themselves or others. And if they deem that that's the case, then it's a seizure of all firearms within their household, in their possession, anything that they could possibly have access to. So that creates another area of workload for us. So we are typically the ones, for the most part, that go out to these houses and we try and seize these firearms. As you can imagine, that's not an easy job. And if you're watching the news right now, you're seeing that in the enforcement of these orders, it's becoming increasingly volatile against law enforcement. And this is an area that's going to continue to be a problem going forward, for sure.
Thank you.
Ms. Carroll?
Currently, when the sheriff's office does file these types of, these TURPOs or these ERPOs, usually my office will represent them. So if we do run into a situation where the public defender's office and/or assigned counsel is mandated pursuant to the state to represent all those respondents or defendants, that will also create more work for my office, especially if the state mandates or requires all law enforcement to continue for any mental health pickup order to automatically file one of these. So it will not only affect your sheriff's office, but it'll also affect the county attorney's office and their staff, creating more work as well for both of our departments.
She's absolutely right on that. And what I guess what I'm trying to impart is that there's just no discretion on the way that this is being applied. We should have the ability to look at a situation on a 941 and say, okay, this person is somebody that we 941 probably once every 2 weeks. They don't have access to firearms. They can't get access to firearms. It's an exercise in futility to go through the whole process of tying up a court, tying up a judge, tying up officers and attorneys to hear these cases. We should have discretion in how this is being applied. And the way that the state is inferring it upon us is that we don't have discretion. So as far as my office is concerned, we exercise discretion. And we only do it in the areas where we believe it's necessary to do it. The state police aren't as fortunate. They have to do it in every single case. And what you're seeing is it's an enormous draw on our justice system in this county.
That's unfortunate.
Question.
Go ahead.
Sheriff, prior to the change in laws that created this ERPA or mechanism, wasn't there already mechanisms in effect for officers in the courts and family mental health officials to remove firearms from a residence anyways?
Absolutely. From a law enforcement perspective, yes. So if we made an arrest where we believed that the person could be a danger, or it was such, the crime was such that we believed that danger existed, we could make an application for an order of protection that required under that order of protection for us to seize firearms. And we still do that routinely. The idea, as I see it, under this TURPO is that third parties, a school administrator, a neighbor, sees something and they can file these complaints. That's my understanding of what the real reason was behind the red flag law. But unfortunately, it's being applied to law enforcement, and what's happening is it's redundant because we are already getting the order of protection. We are already seizing the firearms. So adding the TURPO is just an exercise in futility, in my opinion. It doesn't need to be done.
I would have to agree with you there. Thank you.
Anyone else have comments on this subject? Back to you, sir.
Just to hit again, the first thing in my report, we talked about our drone team being deployed in the town of Wirt. As most of you are probably aware, we had a shots fired, officers need assistance call in the town of Wirt, which was some state troopers were on scene doing a burglary investigation. Suspect inside a garage fired a shotgun through a door at the troopers, which then required an enormous law enforcement response. And when you, as a law enforcement officer, it doesn't matter who you are or what agency you work for or what uniform you're wearing, when you hear that call, you go. We sent personnel, every available agency sent personnel. The suspect fled, he stole a truck at gunpoint, wrecked the truck, fled on foot into the woods, requiring a long search and a perimeter being established. Eventually, he surrendered to the New York State Police, who took him into custody without further incident. What I would just want to underscore is that these acts of violence are not only increasing, they're becoming more and more and more the routine, not only in this county, but the counties surrounding us. The job is getting more difficult for law enforcement. I just want to point out that I'm proud of our people. I'm proud of the New York State Police. They did a really good job with this case, exercising restraint and taking him into custody without further injury. So I just want this committee to be aware that our officers put themselves in danger almost on a daily basis, and it's a very tough job right now.
It certainly is appreciated, and the drone team, I think we've had a drone team for, several years, but it seems like I'm hearing more about their usage now. Perhaps it wasn't publicized before, but it's a wonderful tool for catching someone like this or finding someone in the woods who's lost or whatever. So terrific work on the drone team's part. Thanks.
We do deploy them on a very routine basis. We have a very close relationship with the state police now, and we use them a lot for state police cases where in the past we didn't. And in this particular case, they did deploy a helicopter. We had a helicopter also on scene that was working in tandem with our drone. But the deploying of a helicopter takes time. We were on scene within 40 minutes set up. We were already in the air. They got here about an hour and a half into the incident.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Barnes, I knew there'd be a question somewhere.
My question is, you got situations like you just described, with the new state rules and so on and so forth. Are people like that being put back out on the street without?
Well, in this particular case, the district attorney recommended a charge of attempted murder of a police officer, which is, as you know, a very serious felony charge. Based on that fact, he was held on bail, but that's a rare occurrence these days.
So, if he hadn't actually fired a gun at an officer, but was threatening or whatever else, he could still be back out on the street and.
If the firing of the firearm was not in the direction of law enforcement and maybe it was just into the air, that would be a D felony, reckless endangerment in the first degree, and that's not a bailable offense. He would have been released.
He could be arrested, and have a future court date, but he
would be arrested. He would be arraigned, but he would be released
in a couple days or less.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, back to you, sir.
That's all I have. Any other questions before we move on?
Anyone? I'm seeing no questions.
Okay. We have an MOE that was submitted by County Administrator Kristen Knapp regarding a request for proposals in conjunction with medical services contract currently with Prime Care that will expire in August. All we're doing is looking for the ability to shop around for options to see if we can find the most efficient and effective solution for medical at our facility.
Healy will move that.
Thank you, and a second?
Chemical
Seer.
second.
Okay. All right. Any discussion on this? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? That is carried. Next up.
We have a request to fill a position form for a corrections officer. I made an error last month. I submitted it, but the original didn't get signed by all the parties, so this is the one from last month that we're going to officially address today. It's in relation to a retirement of one of our corrections officers.
Okay.
Stocking moves.
Healy,
Thank you.
second.
Thank you. Discussion.
It is in the budget, Jan.
Thank you, Sheriff.
It is. Yep.
No questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
Okay, the last is a request to create and fill a deputy sheriff lieutenant's position. This position, if we make this position 100% under what we consider to be emergency management, we can use the Department of Homeland Security grant funds to cover it. And that is our intent at this point in time. This position will also work in conjunction with our other partners in emergency management in the county. They'll work closely with the fire coordinator and the EMS coordinator. We think that it's critical at this point in time to create and fill this position in an effort to maintain what we're trying to accomplish through our threat assessment management team and also our active training in that area.
Okay, I'll take a
will
motion.
move that.
Thank you, and a second.
Healy will second it.
Thank you. Discussion.
Any comments
Nope.
from the administrator on this, or?
Nope, I'm in support of it.
Thank you.
Mr. Barnes, you have a question?
So you're saying that this would be covered under Homeland Security?
Under the grant that we received at the end of 2022, which will be extended through the end of this year, I'm being told, we will also be granted the same grant again for another 2 years from what we understand. It would be covered 100% under that grant as long as the duties and responsibilities fall under the job description of that grant, which is what we intend to do.
So if that grant is discontinued in the future, then the county would have to pick up the,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, other questions?
Just, that's actually been an ongoing grant for numerous years, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried.
That's all I have. Any other questions?
I'm showing one more
Oh.
MOE.
What was the other one? Oh,
Yep.
I apologize.
That's all right.
Our treasurer is working with our accountant on an MOE, and I don't know if I have that. It's for a transfer of funds.
Yep.
It's for a transfer of funds within the sheriff's budgets to cover some expenses they had that were unexpectedly for the kitchen, some kitchen equipment. So working with the department, we came up with some places that they could fund this overage in their account, and that what you have in front of you is asking for that. It's in the amount of $25,500.
Looking for a motion?
Stocking.
Thank you. A second?
Healy?
Thank you. Discussion. Yes, no? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you, Sheriff.
That's all I have. Thank you.
I have next on the agenda our County Administrator, Carissa Knapp. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm just cleaning up a couple of other items. I have 3 things. They're all requests to go out for grants. It's through working with Jeff and Bonnie, we've put these together. The first one is a grant opportunity that Jeff brought to my attention for V-Fire grant. And it's the intention to apply for monies to use towards radio upgrades. As most of you remember, the Sheriff's Office is already doing some radio upgrades, and this could help backfill any needs that aren't met by their grants.
So move, Seer.
A second?
Demickle, second.
Thank you. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
The next two, Bonnie is here, so it probably makes more sense for Bonnie to go over the next two, because she could certainly answer any questions better than I could on these ones.
Welcome back.
Yes. These are the grants that we get from Department of Homeland Security for every year that we get them. We haven't gotten the letter yet, but we only have 2 weeks turnaround to apply for the grant, and we usually get it the end of March, 1st of April. So this is, I believe the first one you had is for the SHSP, and it also includes the LETPP for the sheriffs as well. It goes in as one complete grant, and we work together with the Sheriff's Department to do it. We would like to apply for that grant when the time comes available.
Demick will move that.
Thank you. And a second?
Haley will second it.
Thank you. Discussion.
This is all federal money, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
The second one is the Emergency Management Program Grant, the EMPG, which we use this as a 50-50 grant match that we get every year from them. Part of this goes towards salary. There's I think it's 40% of it goes towards salary. The rest of it goes towards, some of it goes towards rent, and then it goes towards connectivity for the director's cell phone. And what is left, we put towards equipment, which is usually approximately $3,000.
Haley will move it.
Thank you. And a second?
Demick will second.
Thank you. Discussion.
I have a question.
Jan.
I've been sitting here being very quiet, trying not to ask, but
You're doing
I'm
well.
gonna have to ask on the last two. The county, there's a county share.
Yes,
That's not budgeted.
yes.
It is budgeted for both of them?
It's only the county share on the EMPG. The SHSP, there is no county share.
Okay, thank you.
That one on the SHSP was supposed to be corrected so that there is no county share on the 59,751. Jody and I had talked about that today, and must be that didn't get added to this agenda with the correction. The only match is the 21,869, and we do match that because we match it with payroll. So that's how that's matched. So every year, that's really a payroll match. And we already are paying payroll, so we just get supported on the other end by the 21,000 they give us. You're welcome.
Other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Now, I think we bounce back to the administrator again, do we not?
I think the sheriff already took care of that
I
one.
did this one. All right, very good. In that case, we are all the way down to old business. Does anyone have any old business? I have one item, and it involves our administrator, so I'm going to put you on the spot again. Could you give us a quick update on our certificate of need application process?
So the process on that is our county attorney is working with outside counsel to work on the CON. I believe they have some items ready to go when the board is ready for them. I believe first thing you'll have to do is pass a resolution. After that's done, then the county attorney could make the application for your CON. But as we've talked previously, once you apply for that CON, there is a timeline that goes with it, and you need to be ready to act. So really, until this board has a plan on how they want to use it, it would be best to just kind of keep the CON application in our pocket. Be ready to act when the board has a plan.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to continue to keep this under old business just because this is very important, and as we go forward, any updates would be appreciated. Any other old business? New business? Good of the order. Hearing nothing, I will entertain an adjournment motion.
Stocking.
Thank you. And a second?
Barnes.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. We are done. Good meeting, everyone.